Burna, it was just like, we had this amazing conversation. We talked about everything, like down to like this Grammy, for real. Well, he's like, so like, what are we gonna do? Like, where's the goal? I'm like, bro, you have to be like the biggest artist in the world. You have to be Michael Jackson. Like, you have to fucking, like, that's the goal. Grammys, we got to change the world. Like, you can change the way people look at African people around the world, and we can break down the walls. Like, that's what this whole shit's about. That's what this music is about. That's what Fela was trying to do. And it's like, so we're doing all this shit with Neuro, and like, we're kind of like this outside creative team that she's investing in, but we're also meant to do creative for her companies and all these things. For bringing ideas, incubating creativity. And she just like, she wants to be, she was a collector of art and all these things. So like, there was just like a lot of focus on building another world, and she has all these relationships. So I have so many stories of like, she has relationships with everyone. So she has an artist she's trying to develop. The artist, she's spending millions of dollars on this artist. It's not connecting in any way. Blames that on us.
You guys are only as good as what you're pushing, though,
so,
right?
And at that same time, we're also doing the neighborhood shit. So the neighborhood's starting to pop off.
Yeah.
And I'm like showing it to them. I'm like, yo, we just did this video. And they're like, yo, why is this shit popping? And like, this nigga shit ain't popping.
That pissed them off almost, right?
It just like kind of like, it's just like, all right, we're just like, what's up? Like, what are you focusing on now? Yeah. So yeah, it's just like, we're the one that put the money behind you, runs this wire. Like, you need to be focusing on this. I mean, like, this shit is trash. Like, this dude ain't doing it. Like, this is, nobody wants to hear this. Nobody. That's what I'm thinking in my head. But I'm like, yo, it's like, if I go, I'm like, I'm not trying to go that hard at this whole situation, and I'm trying to be respectful.
You guys would lose your just keep it like 100 though. You guys would lose your cushy setup if you were like, your artist is trash.
You're absolutely like, your artist is absolutely trash. God doesn't have a chance. Like, none of these songs are gonna work. Like, that's what the reality was. But nobody wanted to hear that.
Yeah.
So we just kept doing our thing. We kind of kept those. We try to keep the music world as separate as possible. We're just having a really good time, and we're getting paid a lot of money, and we're doing a lot of great shit. But at the same time, we had no control over anything. Yeah. Like, if we can we got a phone call at 4 a.m. and say, you got to go, you got to go. And so that was kind of like,
that started to wear on you after a minute.
Yeah, there was no amount of money that like is worth that. Like, you couldn't, now there's not, if I don't want to go somewhere, I don't care what you pay me, I'm not going. Like, it's not about the money. It's like more about the mental health and about what makes me 100%. Happy or what we're actually doing. So yeah,
so one of the homies hits you, I got a box.
He said, I left the box. Yeah. So I'm like looking around, I'm like, all right, I don't see no box. And at this exact moment was like the first day the lady had been back, and she's fighting with her nigga in the crib. They're like yelling.
Whoa.
They're like screaming, and they're fighting.
And you guys are in the house at this point?
We're working. And I'm like, yo, it's time to go, bro. This is getting wild. And they're like yelling, screaming. I'm like, bro, I don't have time for this. So we're walking out the back, about to leave. And right then he texts me. I'm like, looking. I'm like, bro, I can't find this shit. I'm bouncing. I leave. We come back the next day. I came early, like 8 a.m. We get a text like, yo, we need to sit down and talk. And at this point, they had now hired a new person to oversee that artist that wasn't popping off. And the guy they brought in was a manager who, I think he did like Nickelback or some shit. I was just like, bro, you're washed. So I'm like, bro, like, nobody cares about anything. Nobody gave a shit.
Yeah.
And what's funny is the guy before him, I really wish I had respected more. Was this guy, Brian McNellis, who's one of the heads of Lakeshore Productions. Like, they did the Drive soundtrack. So at that time, he had just dropped the Drive soundtrack. So this was the guy
that's the biggest thing out at that moment.
Yeah, so he was the guy that was above us, that she had, who's also a consultant, and he was like the one consulting the music thing and a couple other ventures.
You're cool with this guy, not the Nickelback guy. No. You weren't cool with that guy.
Any authority figure in our world, we weren't cool with. So this previous authority figure, this guy Brian from Lakeshore, he was killing it at the time, but I didn't really understand what he did. Right. Because I was still learning about the other facets of the music business, like publishing and all this stuff. So they were killing.
And you guys had free reign for a while. I'm just gonna keep it real. You guys had free reign for a while, so you don't want to get like roped into some shit.
So I got you. Somebody's trying to tell me how to break an artist. I'm like, you don't break artists. That's not what you're really doing. Like, you're like, and he actually was a culture guy and all this stuff. But anyways, disrespected this guy, kept pushing him down, and the artists are not popping off, and you're getting paid the most to focus on that, and it's not happening. So he got fired. They replaced him with this Nickelback guy. This guy's a dweeb. We're not listening to him at all. He's like, we got to do this and that. We're just like, fuck this guy. So we just keep it pushing. So we're doing what we have to do for Neuro, and we're like, whatever needs to be delivered for our artists, we'll deliver it, and that's it. We don't even care. You tell us what you want, but we're not going to give because our ideas aren't getting respected. So what's the point? Just tell us what you want. So one day he just sends a text. That next day he goes, we have to have an important meeting right now. It's like 9 a.m. I'm like, all right, well, 15 minutes away. So we're pulling in.
You could tell dude was heated.
Yeah, though, yeah. He was just weird. So I'm like, we sit down. It's me and Barney. He goes, so I'm just going to say it. Whose gun is this? I look at him. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I was like, nah, bro. I was like, fuck you. I was like, bro, you're trying to, I don't know what you're trying to.
You were trying to sabotage you guys?
Yeah, I thought you were trying to plan it on us. I'm like, bro, because like obviously I had a lot of different people pulling up.
Yeah.
From all different, like people that I trusted them and they were working. Like nothing ever bad happened at the spot. But everybody had to go to other places afterwards. So whatever they had. Like I wasn't judging that. It was stupid to leave it, obviously. But then I had to take responsibility for that in the end because I'm the one that was letting
it's your guy though, right?
Yeah, it was my right hand. You know what I'm saying? So the guy who left it was like my ace. So I was like, all right, I gotta eat that. But he's putting this. I'm like, bro, you're a liar. And like I'm getting heated. Like I have tears in my eyes. I'm like, I'm gonna kill him.
Wow.
I was like, I'm gonna use this gun.
I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah, that's what's different. I'm like, dude, this guy's tweaking. Like, is he crazy? I'm like, I'm thinking about
everything. But you thought he was intentionally trying to fuck up the bag, though, right?
Yeah, I thought he was trying to fuck up our bag. Yeah. Like he's trying to like do a power trip thing on us. I thought it was like he's trying to use this. Like now I got you.
Right.
Like now you are my bitch. Like that's what in my head. I'm like, he's trying to.
That was kind of his vibe, though. The way you're painting it, bro.
So it
like
was.
That,
so then he just stumbled on the right thing. So he did that. Then the next. We talked to the lady that night, go through the whole shit. The next day, they end everything.
Wow.
Cut off the bank accounts, change all the key codes, dissolve our business, like everything. Like, and we didn't have the will to fight. We had other stuff we were working on. Like at that time, we had just got put onto a Nike project with Live Strong. So we were doing like this whole thing for the Olympics.
Tight.
So
neighborhood was full on popping.
Neighborhood was popping. Too. So I was like, we had other stuff we were working on. It was just like the thing that was like our crux and like helped support everything
like
financially
everything,
was gone.
Plus, let's keep it all the way real. Like, I feel like that bar was set so high as far as like the fucking lavishness of everything. Yo, like that's a high bar, Matthew. Yeah. You know? Are you thinking, man, I want to get back there? You know, as soon as we can.
I mean, ever since then, all I wanted was to be able to do that for ourselves and to be able to provide that to other kids like ourselves the right way. I mean, it was kind of cool, but she kind of just like was like, all right, I'm gonna throw you into the middle of the Pacific Ocean. There's sharks there.
Damn.
Here's a fucking compass. Meet me at the fucking beach. I'm gonna take a yacht over there. And that was what we were on at all times. That was our vibe at all times. We were like so constantly like, we know we were going in that direction, but ain't nobody really like helping to bring us over there. So like good. Our main dream and goals weren't being like properly cradled in the environment we're in. It was more cradling what everybody else wanted, and they had us because they had the money, you know, and they understand. And we were young, and we were trying to keep up with that lifestyle. So it was just a bunch of things, but I think we learned a lot. But it was really fucked up when it was over. I was pissed. I hated everything about that situation, especially coming up. That was one thing I always felt like was a huge issue. Like older black men in the industry never showed love to the younger dudes. There's so many different accounts where I'm like, these dudes could have just had with guidance or mentorship, or you know, just like it's cool now. All those people hit me now, and it is what it is.
We gotta talk about that, bro. How do you handle the people that didn't believe in you or didn't fuck with you as much when you were coming up, and those same people are hitting you now?
Part of me is like, they're probably right. Like the shit that I was working on then isn't here now. You know what I'm saying? So. Even though I believed in all those projects, like 100%, just as much as I believe in anything now.
You really don't personalize it still. Really,
I mean, there's some of the people where I'm just yeah, they probably can feel my energy. But there's other people where I'm like, they don't even remember. You know what I'm saying? I remember.
Damn.
You know, because I was just like, I was also such a young kid amongst all adults most of the time. So we do one meeting at the SLS downstairs, Brian Leach. On the way to the meeting, I Google who Brian Leach is. I'm like, oh, this June he was just in jail because he had 2 Glocks in his whip. I'm like, oh, great, let's go meet Brian Leach. Brian Leach is the size of a fucking door. I'm like, bro, who is this guy? This guy looks like a fucking Mortal Kombat character. He's yoked. I'm like, him and Dr. Dre must be in the same program. These niggas ain't playing. So I'm like, all right. He shakes my hand. I was like, bro, this guy's strong. Then the other old head dude will remain unnamed, so we have no heat in these streets. Old head dude comes. He's backing one of the dudes from the Chill Black Guys, and I'm just like, what the fuck's going on?
The dude that you felt was trying to sun you, basically.
Yeah, he was sunning you. He wasn't trying. He was definitely doing it. And I was like, I wasn't having it. So he pulled me to the side. He's like, yo, it's all good. I'm just here to just make sure everything goes smooth, blah, 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 whatever. So we do the meeting. We're talking about the deal. We're saying they're like, yo, we love the energy. We see you guys everywhere. Your shows are popping. Your videos are popping. Everything was just sick at this point. Rocky comes down, says what's up. He's like, love it. I love what y'all do. The video with the party is fucking sick. All this shit. Cool. He bounces. Then we're like, all right, this is happening. So now I'm going back and forth with the A&R and Brian Leach, and we're going back and forth like, all right, this is going to happen. Then 2 days later, I get a text from the A&R. He's like, yo, come to the Oakwoods. Thinking like they want to like go through the deal points. I'm like, this is moving fast. I pull up. It's me, Brian Leach, and the nigga that tried to sue me. We sit down. I'm like, first of all, I didn't know he was going to be here, but all right. I was like, what's going on? They're like, you don't know what the fuck's happening right now? With your artist? This is the guy that's trying to sun me that tells me this. With my artist, who is his little homie, who's the one that's acting out.
Right, what?
So I'm like, all right. I'm like, no, what's happening? He goes, you don't see the Space Ghost shit? I was like, oh yeah, I heard about it. That's just crazy. He goes, that's because of your fucking artist. She's DMing and all this shit. He's like, yo, Rocky stole your swag and all this shit. I was like, bro, like I had no fucking idea.
What's that got to do with you?
I said, I have no fucking idea. He's a grown man. Like, well, I don't have control over his Twitter. They're like, yo, this is so fucked. Like, how you guys want to be the West Coast ASAP and you can't even handle your shit, all this stuff. I'm like, bro, first of all, the artist you're talking about, he's older than me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's start there.
Yeah. He's older than I am. Second of all, I don't have control over his Twitter. He's a grown nigga. And he has a relationship with this dude. I have no idea. You guys know about this before me. I'm finding about this about right now. So I call him. I'm like, yo, is this true? He goes, yeah, it's kind of true. Like, I was just talking to him. It's like, it's not the way they saying it. But I was like, all right, I hang up. I'm like, it must be true. Because this guy would never tell me the truth anyway.
Wow. So did you have to eat it again like you did with the gun at the Neuro office?
Right there, it was done. Like, they were like, from then on, they were like, all right, we'll fix it, blah, blah, blah. And nothing ever happened. And then their whole shit just kept going down. Like that, they were banking on that moment so hard. Everything was just positive, growing, popping off, sold out shows.
Nothing but momentum for those guys, right?
And then like, it was leading to this moment because now they're like, yo, we need more money, we need more investment. We're trying to quit our jobs, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, let's do it. Then this falls through. Then obviously this creates a bunch of rifts within the group because they're like, yo, this is your fucking fault. No, this is your fucking fault. Then they're like trying to come at us like, yo, you guys have like these people with money. Like, why don't you put money behind us?
That whole shit derailed overnight pretty much.
We were just immature, a bunch of immature kids figuring it out together, And like we probably needed that old head mentorship.
But to the point you just made, right? There wasn't a lot of black mentorship. You're saying so because it was more people saw it as more competitive. Yeah,
it was just like it was very like they were just gonna cutthroat you. They just wanted to cut you out. You know what I'm saying? They weren't trying to like build you or like help you learn or like give you mentorship. It'd be like, all right, you fucked up, but like this is what we're gonna do to fix it. It wasn't that. It was like, yo, what the fuck's wrong with you? Yes, he was a really dedicated guy, and once he has a vision, he's thorough. And like I think that's a lot with all the artists that we work with. That's what we look for, and I think he kind of set that precedent. It's like we're looking for people who are visionaries.
Love that.
And he really taught me that.
When you're doing something different, people like they kind of shun it at first. I had on a guy, bro. This guy used to coach Kanye and all these people, bro. And he was telling me that he's like the world moves or society moves in a certain cadence. I thought this shit was so dope. It's like they're just walking in. It's like this guy gets in office, we're okay. That guy gets out of office, blah blah blah. It's like he's like, and then as soon as somebody steps out of the cadence, people are like, look at that person, like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? You're not in our cadence.
But isn't that shit kind of dope? But the people that step out of the cadence also usually shift culture. Like
I know, but at first they're like looked at like what the fuck? You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think it takes a lot of bravery on some level because I think at our most core need, bro, is to like, bro, think about our brains are still primitive. Like if we got exile from our tribe, we were gonna die, bro. Like we still have that in our brain.
Everything has a tribe. Even the people who are like fuck the tribe, there's a tribe.
Okay, what about punk rock?
That's a tribe, ain't it?
But they're a break from the main tribe,
and
bro.
There's a niche, and then there's probably a niche within punk rock. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the fucking skinheads that are fucking.
Actually,
what's the fucking the skinheads that are straight edge? You know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother tribe within the tribe. Everything has. So I'm like. I mean, I guess that makes sense, but
the cadence idea you fuck with a little bit.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Yeah. It makes sense. Like, There's a norm,
and that's always been who you are, is to be outside of that cadence. We look is for, what I'm saying.
Yeah, my business partner Kirk always said it the best. Is like we look for the artists that are left of center. That's gonna bring the center to their left, but not be so left that they're just an outlier. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's fucking money, bro.
Yeah, we're not necessarily looking for Bjork. We're looking for Billie Eilish. You know what I'm saying? Or you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like she's the new age pop star, but she's very much left of what anybody would expect a pop star to be. She brought people to her world. She's not gonna do a fucking.
That's like what I heard Clancy say, who manages OF. He said, I don't want my artist to bend to radio. I want radio to bend to my artist. That's the same idea, mentality. Right?
It's like those are culture shifters. Those are the ones that are like, that's what we're doing this for. It's like you hope that you get behind artists that you believe in the messages that they're delivering.
Yeah.
And that if they were to change culture with those messages, something more positive will come out of that. That's what we're trying to look for.
How did you first cross paths with Burna Boy?
Well, obviously, my dad's from Nigeria. My mom's Armenian from Iran. So I grew up with those cultures. So my dad was putting me on to Nigerian artists from when I was really young, like Fela, King Sunny Ade, and then artists outside of Nigeria like Brenda Fassie, and Sati Soul, and he put me on to a bunch of stuff. And through that, he started showing me the younger dudes. So first it was like Two-Face, which was like when I was 14. So Two-Face had a song called African Queen. Sorry. You are my African Queen. Anyways, it was like that song, that album, everything was just like, that was my
Smash
shit.
City though? That was a smash?
Yeah, okay, that was the first time like my dad played me an album where I listened to it every single day, all day, like all the time. Like it was my shit. Like, and then that year we went to Nigeria for the first time. I was like 14, I think. So I got to see my grandma, I got to see everybody. I had seen my grandma before that, but I got to see everybody out there. And then he started putting me on the WizKid, and WizKid was close to my age. And I was just like, no, this ain't it. I think, again, it was like a competitive thing. I was just like, no, it's like, it could be better than this. My dad was just constantly putting me on, so like my ear was getting used to it. You know what I'm saying? But it was obviously very different than what I was acclimated 100%. To at that time. So I wasn't fully like on it. Then, as I expanded my taste, I've just been listening to music more and got deeper and deeper into my own culture and what's close to me, and then just listening to music in general. And like Kirk, my business partner, is just like a fucking music Wikipedia dictionary, and like the people he has around him are incredible. So like they all just put me on the shit. I'm just open to more music. So then one day I'm like, I hear Burna on like a Party Next Door playlist. This is when like Party was starting to pop, and this is early. This is like, I think Spotify's probably gotten better at it than they were 6 years ago. So going down to, he plays one of the songs. I'm like, oh, this is fire. I go to his page, have no idea he's Nigerian or anything. Like, he sounds Jamaican on the record I heard. So I was just like, oh, this is sick. This is cool. And I kind of left it at that. Then one of our A&Rs sends a couple different names of like artists to listen to. And I see Burna Boy. I'm like, yo, I fuck with this guy. Like, I listened to him this week. I actually like his shit. He goes, oh, he's Nigerian. I was like, really? So then I go listen to his shit more. I go deeper. And it had like already millions of views. He was huge in Nigeria already. Like he was popping. He was a superstar.
He was not known here at all.
He was not known in America. Right. He was a superstar in Africa and in the African diaspora. I was just catching on late. You know what I'm saying? Like he had been putting out music from 2010, 2015, 2016 at that time. Consistently, every single year, he was popping. So I'm like, yo, this guy's next level. I'm listening through all this shit. I'm like, he's the most versatile artist I've ever heard, period. Not from Africa or from here or from there. He could do everything. He was doing dancehall. He could do Afro beats. He could do his own shit. He could rap. He could sing. I was like, bro, this guy's insane. Like, I'm like, we have to meet him like now, today, like whatever.
Talking to your business partner, right? About
and
this?
Our team. Yeah. So we had a small team at that, probably like 3 of us, 4 of us. So I'm like, we have to meet him. We got to go. So we had to go to London with an artist we were working with at that time. He had to do BBC One Live Lounge. So we were going out to London. And at that exact same time, Burna was doing his homecoming show. First time coming back to London. So Burna spent a portion of his life growing up in London. Like he did high school.
That's some universal synchronicity for sure.
And like
bro.
At this time, we're like emailing with his mom. Wow. With Bose, but like we hadn't met the team. Like I hadn't put it all together. So we're still figuring it out. So I'm like, all right, we're going to be there at the same time. So we came in the day after his show. So he does a show. It's a sellout at the Apollo Everton in London, which is a 5,000 cap room. I think they put like 6,500 people in there. 2 days after his show, we have dinner at 805 in Peckham, which is a Nigerian restaurant out there. We pull up, me, Kurt, and Cody, our A&R at the time, and we're waiting for Burna. Dinner's at 8. Burna pulls up at like 10:30. Walks in, his mom, Remu, they walk into the restaurant. Everyone in the restaurant starts going crazy. Girls are crying, waiters are acting all crazy. I'm like, bruh, like this is like, he's a superstar. Like people are like, everybody's going wild. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? So he sits down, we're talking for like 2 minutes. He's like, yo, you want to go smoke? I was like, yeah, for sure. So we order the food, we bounce. We go to the car, we sit down. And our first conversation, for like 2.5 hours, we're just listening through song. He's like,
you didn't go back into the restaurant?
No, we did like at like 1 a.m. So we go on listening to music, listening to song after song after song. And we're just smoking, and like me and him are talking about everything. Me and him are just vibing. We're talking. Yeah. Like we're just going in. I'm like, we just talk about everything. He's like, how the fuck did you even find me? Like, where'd you, like, what's going on? Like, are you guys serious? And like, he'd been going through like different conversations, labels at that time that were all like kind of, it was just like a lot of label bullshit.
Yeah.
Where they're just trying to stay in touch and stay close, and that's not how.
Classic like industry bullshit.
I mean, obviously, I'm not. Mm-hmm. I never had the industry anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
that's why I fucked with you. You always kept it real, pretty much.
I mean, industry people keep it real or whatever. It's just like my approach.
I think there's a lot of industry people that don't keep it real, for the record. But yeah,
there's people that do, and there's. I think like. Anyway, I mean, there's non-industry people that don't keep it real. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's true.
There's like a side to every
you approach. Sound like an industry cat right now. You're like, no,
I play politics. You know what I'm saying? That system is changing too, and it's like we're there and we're part of it. And like,
that's some real shit, though. That's some real shit. Yeah.
But with Burna, it was just like we had this amazing conversation. We talked about everything, like down to like this Grammy. For real. Well, he's like, so like, what are we gonna do? Like, where's the goal? I'm like, bro, you have to be like the biggest artist in the world. You have to be Michael Jackson. Like, you have to fucking like, that's the goal. Grammys, we got to change the world. Like, you can change the way people look at African people around the world, and we can break down the walls. Like, that's what this whole shit's about. That's what this music is about. That's what Fela was trying to do. And it's like, what you shouldn't die trying to do is like what you should die doing. You know what I'm saying? And like make it happen, because we have the ability to. And like obviously he comes from that lineage, and the fact that like his mom's father managed Fela for the first 20 years of Fela's career, so she grew up around that, and like there's just like a deeper understanding of not the music business, but how important the message is and how important everything that this shit is spiritual. It's not just a business,
it feels spiritual. You know? For sure. So I've always felt that way about music.
So it's like obviously that was the approach always. Like that was where the motivation was coming from.
You got slept on sometimes, maybe when you were starting out your career.
If anybody's gonna deal with something new, it's just to always take everything on as a new thing. Like don't judge. Like I guess don't judge nobody. Like whether they're the biggest CEO or some artist with 20 plays on a song. Like that 20 play kid could then make an Old Town Country Road, and then everything changes. You know, like so I wouldn't. If you believe in something for real, then follow your passion, follow your heart.
Do you fuck with fate at all? Do you believe some of this shit is like destined and like fate? To go super deep on you?
I guess with fate, I don't know. Because I'm like I said, I've always, like nothing that's happening surprises me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's never like if, it's just when. That's how I've always looked at it.
That's why those moments where your road turns on you, you didn't bug out.
It's just like, all right, well, that's what we got to go through.
Do you think people stop? But you're making it seem like you're not aware that people struggle with that. Because I'm like, Gary Vaynerchuk, who I fuck with a lot, always speaks to that. Half of the shit is about that, about people like, I'm 29, why hasn't it happened yet? Like, everybody's upset that it hasn't happened yet. That's why I love talking about it.
If you ask me, like, for me, I'm not anywhere near where I want to be. So even you could be like, you could think like, it hasn't happened yet, but you don't let yourself. I mean, if I was going to really think about it, right now I'd be like, oh, it hasn't happened yet. Like,
damn.
That's where I'm at.
Because you're riding a really good wave right now. So you still
we're
think
just at the beginning
of
everything we're doing. Like haven't even scratched the surface of what we're supposed to be doing. So I'm just happy that we're surviving and that we're creating and that people are feeling what we're creating. and we're just gonna keep growing. Like, but yeah, for me, I'm like, we just started. Like, we're nothing we're doing.
That's fucking amazing. You got a Grammy, but you just started.
Yeah, for real. The Grammy was just the beginning of the race. For real. Things are happening. Like, evolution of things is happening a lot faster. So maybe what took like 100 years in technology might take 5 years now. There are people that still ride camels to get from point A to point B right now. I ride a Tesla. There's a point where the Tesla is going to be the camel, and we're going to snap our fingers and be wherever we want in a second.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And that could be for 10 years from now. Who knows? Like, that's the way the world is working. And like,
that's why you're saying I just started. Yeah. That comment you made a minute ago.
Yeah, it's because like we're living in a world that's ever changing and ever shifting. And like, where we focus on now, even in the industries that we're all in, could drastically change.
But people always put a goal. Like, all right, for this podcast, bro, I want to maybe get the check from Spotify. Yo, bring me in and make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a short-term goals, and there's like, you know what I'm saying?
You got to set a GPS somewhere, though, right? Like when you were in the car with Burna for the first time, you're like, yo, Grammy would be nice. I'm sure.
I know, but this, I guess, again, the quarantine gave this opportunity for the first time to be more macro with how we look at our business and how we look at ourselves and how we look at everything we're doing. Like, I would say for the last 5 years that we've been building Bad Habit, we're probably thinking like every 6 months to a year ahead. But now, for the first time, I'm trying to think 10 years from now. Jeff Bezos is thinking 100 years from now. Right now, the company he's creating right now is for the company that will live 100 years from now.
On Mars.
You know what I'm saying? So me thinking 10 years from now seems about right.
Takeaways for the listeners, bro, is like, get more macro about things. You know, that's a great gem for people. Do you know what I've been telling myself on that note? For some reason, like, I get these mantras in my head from time to time. And the mantra in my head right now is craft over scoreboard. You fuck with that at all? Like,
100%.
Craft over scoreboard,
yeah. That's what it is. It's like, it's a diligence. You know?
Why Bad Habit, too? I think that's an interesting question.
What do you mean?
Why called your company's called Bad Habit, right? Our Bad Habit, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So why? No,
just it's called Bad Habit. It's Bad Habit. We had to do Our Bad Habit.
Our Bad Habit's the handle. Right.
You know, somebody has bad habit out there. It's just some fucking bastard in Wisconsin.
That's code when we tried to cut him a check. He said no.
Give me my shit. No, it's cool. Bad Habit. It just kind of represents our ethos in a lot of ways. We kind of, Kirk and I, come from this mental space of like, we're outsiders that are inside. You know what I'm saying? It's
very
like
cool, bro.
We pulled a lot of metaphors from that, because obviously a habit is the headwear that a nun wears, so that's why the nun is our logo, and we call her Habit. She's a bad bitch. She holds it down, like. And I mean, obviously, we have a lot of great women around us, and they inspire us. So they're the crux behind what we do. From like my mom, my sister, Kirk's wife, Jeanette, his daughter Isabella, Bose, Ronnie. All these women, like, they really hold it down for us. So that's a part of what we represent. And we're also just a voice that you're not going to tell us how to do shit. For so long, religion has been used to hold women back. Like, we want to flip that on their head.
There you go again, shifting culture, Matthew. Right?
But like, you know, we want to be a part of the voices that shape the future. Hopefully, the CEO of Bad Habit is one day just a woman. You know, beyond us. We're just here as the beginning. So. Yeah, we're just Bad Habit. That's who we are. That's
incredible, dude.
Yeah, we running that.
Last thing, man, I thought of this on our phone is flying too close to the sun. You have this idea about they flew too close to the sun. What's that all about?
That's a Kirk metaphor.
So it's a secondhand gem, but what is it?
That's you know what I'm saying? That's the holy God right there. So something that he taught me early. That's probably one of the first things he put on me. Everybody's flying towards the sun, and some people, the closer they get towards the sun, they're going to veer off when that heat hits them, and other people fly right through it. And we've dealt with artists where, like, you know, you start to get to that place where, like, all right, you got to fly to London one day, and then you got to do a show in Australia the next day, then you got to be in LA for a TV show, and then you're trying to go number one here, you're trying to go to,
That's them getting closer to the sun.
Because now you're starting to see, oh, this is the responsibilities that come with what I want to be. If I want to be Michael Jackson, I have to be physically available to the world, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, every single day, 24/7 a day, period. If you can't do that, and that's why a lot of times people become the character, like Lady Gaga. She's probably Lady Gaga more than whatever her real name is, or she probably had to work through that and, you know, gone through a lot of shit. But the deeper you get into that, Madonna ain't gonna undo Madonna. Like, whoever she was when she was born is gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, she had to fly into the sun, and like, you can't look back. You know, you sacrifice so much in that. It's a sacrifice. When you get to that heat, you either gonna be like, fuck that, I'm gonna go back to what I'm comfortable to, or you're just gonna fly through that heat and let it burn off your skin and come out the other side.
Become a new you.
You become made out of gold. Or you disintegrate it or whatever. Most of the time it burns people out.
Damn. Wow.
It's not easy. Like, look at Michael Jackson. Or you can DMX.
I almost look at Kanye, bro. Kanye, if you look at Kanye 2003, it's a different Kanye we're looking at today. He flew into the sun.
Yeah, he flew directly into the center of the sun. And he's come out the other side, one of the most successful people in the world. He sacrificed a lot for us. So,
wow.
All you can say is thank you.